Today I'm going to teach you how to do step 3, or the final phase of your reductive prints. First, you're going to need to take what's left of your printing plate and you're going to decide what areas you're going to print using your detail color. Whatever areas you are not going to print, you're going to remove by cutting them away. If you look at my sketch in the background, you'll notice that I've shaded in some areas and left other areas white so that I could tell the difference between where I was going to leave the color of the animal and where I was going to make the color for the detail. So I'm just cutting away the parts and pieces that I want to stay the color of the animal, and what is left of the printing plate is going to be my detail color. Because I wanted to cut out the shape around the panda's eye, I had to figure out how to get there. So I decided to cut up that line that I drew for the nose, and then I could get to that shape on the inside of the styrofoam plate and be able to cut that shape out really carefully. You can see I had to be really careful because I wanted to cut out the nose, and if I cut the nose, then it was going to be really thin. So I had to cut really carefully, really think about what I was doing, and make sure that I knew where I wanted my detail color to be on my print before I made those cuts. In order to be ready to make my final layer on my reductive print and add the detail color, I need to have my prints that have the background and the animals already printed with their color. I need to have my cut printing plate with everything that is going to be a detail left for the printing plate. And then I also need to know what colors I'm going to be adding onto my prints to make those details. As I begin my last layer on my reductive print, listen for that stickiness that we know is going to help us to make sure that we have enough ink on the brayer and the printing plate. As I put the ink on my printing plate, I could tell that it wasn't as sticky sounding as I wanted, so I added a little bit more ink to my printing station. Now that I can hear that really sticky sound, I know I have enough ink on my plate. I'm ready to print, so I'm going to take my printing plate back to my table, make sure I have some scrap paper on hand and my original prints ready. And again, I'm going to very carefully line up where my detail color is going to print. Put my scrap paper on top and rub really well to make sure that the ink transfers onto the paper. One tip that I learned while doing this was to use a piece of tape and create a little tab on the back of my detail printing plate so that it's easier to place it down in the right place and to pick it back up. So you can see how my finished print looks with my 3 layers of reductive printing. I did my second print with a triadic color scheme, or secondary colors. You can see how my final 2 pop art prints came out. For cleanup today, you need to make sure that you place your prints next to one another on the drying rack. Use a sponge to gently clean your printing plate, dry it, keep it in your sketchbook, and then recycle the dirty scrap paper.